Welcome to Coffee Connect. How's you guys doing? Right? It is a splendid week down here in Cincinnati. Like at least so far, the first couple of days have been very mild. Although we're supposed to get up into the 90s for the rest of this week. But it has been great so far. I almost contemplated actually going out to my bar out at the Tiki Bar and hanging out there because it's only about 72 degrees right now and stuff and broadcasting from outdoors this morning and clear skies, obviously. So I'm not sharing, I know that yet, but let's do this, right? So this conversation that we're going to have today, guys, really stem from some things that I've heard, right? Anytime I hear something come into my mind or into my existence two or three times within a certain week, I just feel like that's the universe telling me, hey, you should probably bring this conversation up, right? And talk about this. Um, this idea of transactional versus relationship was driven really from conversations that I had with many of you all, right? And some folks that aren't here yet today, but that's why I thought let's have a conversation about this. And I know collectively between Cleveland area networking and our Thursday breakfast group and stuff like that, right? We talk about this stuff a lot, but it's always one of those things that I think can never be spoke about too much, right? You can always reinforce the basics. And so I don't know why I titled it this, but I just felt like it was because sometimes we go to those networking groups, business people, seekers alike, right? And they go to a networking event and they're like, what am I doing here? And I think those beginning in the world of business and maybe even those that are just jumping back into that job search mode, right? They go to a networking event and they're thinking, I got to get my next job. I got to get my next sale. I got to get my next whatever it might be, right? They're not thinking, I just need to meet as many people and create relationships with as many people as possible because the more Joannes and Dianes and Dalbars that know what Rodney does and what I'm looking for and really what I'm about, right? As from a person standpoint, right? The more likely they are to be able to say, hey, Rodney, I don't know if you know this, but Dave is a great friend of mine and he does business consulting. And I think he could really give you some good ideas on how to market your business. And all of a sudden, I get introduced to Dave, right, who helps perpetuate the journey that I'm on, right? And so, guys, relationships, in my entire life, 25 years in the Navy, people say, what made you so successful as a chief, as a senior chief, as a master chief? It wasn't because I ran inside my little clique of three or four people. It's because I reach out to everybody across the entire ship, knowing that I didn't have all the answers all the time. Right? That every once in a while, even though I might not like what Clint looks like and how he smells or whatever else, that I just might have to talk to Clint, right, to get some things done around here, right? And we have to build those relationships so that we can trust in each other. And so I want that to be kind of the catalyst of what we're talking about today. And uh, it blows my mind when I talk to someone who maybe is entertaining going into more of an entrepreneurial type venture, especially if they're in job search mode and they're thinking, man, I could probably do this as a independent contractor, what I'm doing, right? Whether it be graphic design or whatever else it is, right? It, but they come out with those words. They're like, I need stability. Dave starts chuckling because he knew what I was going to say, right? I need stability. Right? Well, first of all, if you're laid off, let go, downsize, right size right now, and you're meeting in this group because you're in job search mode, how much stability do you have? Right? How much stability did you have when you gave all of that control to the employer that employed you? Right? And so I'm not saying that that's wrong. I'm not saying going and working for someone is wrong because for some people it can be a good thing and have success in bringing in a paycheck every Friday. But I will tell you, nobody wants to rent their entire life. They want to own. And I think your career paths and your journeys that you're on, right, should be exactly the same. What can you own about the talents and skills, right, that you bring to the table for others? And so we start looking at transactional mindsets, right? We know that they are all short-term focus, right? Right. That they lack authentic connectivity between two people, right? They miss a lot of opportunities for collaboration, right? If I'm only here today for Diane to introduce me to my next sale, right? And then I no further talk to Diane, God only knows what I'm missing out on, right? Because there could be so much more there. We go into a situation hoping for a door to open, not knowing that five, six, seven, or eight doors could open. Okay. And so, not to mention the stress that things can put on, right? If every day I woke up and I said, oh my God, I got to make a sale, right? Oh my God, I got to go get a job. Oh my God, right? Whatever that transaction is, I'm forced every day to wake up with that same pressure, that same stress, that same gut feeling that doesn't make me want to live probably any longer, right? As opposed to if I wake up every day and I say, who can I go meet, right? Who can I go help? And Dave's always like, who can I go serve, right? He always preaches, hey, who can I go serve? We're here to serve. And if we woke up with that mindset, we go to a networking event with that mindset. Hold on to that thought, Dave. 1 second, okay? I think you're going to realize that not just one door is going to open, guys. Go ahead, Dave.
What you're explaining here is exactly what that Arbinger group is all about. You're describing an inward mindset. How can these people help me versus, and you've broken it into really three categories, not just help me versus how can I help you? You've hit on the middle ground. How does it become a mutually beneficial relationship? So anytime you're thinking about the issue of this person can be valuable to me, you've almost blown the relationship unless you've developed that mutual respect.
Exactly, exactly. Any other thoughts, guys, while we got the mics open?
Kind of what Simon Sinek would talk about the infinite game rather than the short-term game. You think about things in the longer term rather than just the short term. And that's kind of what some of this is. It looks to me like what some of this would get at.
I like it.
You want to think about, um, and basically what he went into is, there were different military events that, like in Vietnam, he said that the reason that the Americans were expelled was because the Vietnamese just kept coming and kept coming and kept coming and kept coming, and they wanted, they had an infinite mindset, whereas America wanted to kind of win something and be done. The Vietnamese had an infinite mindset, and therefore, they won. And then there's other examples that he gives in business, but that's the one that probably most people would know about.
Rodney, one last thing. You'd mentioned job search. So often, even in your introductions, people go, I worked for such and such. I have these skills. I have, instead of saying my superpower or my ability to help these people solve these HR problems or these engineering problems, that introduction is everything. If you're looking at how do I fit their values and provide value to them, it changes the whole networking from I'm kind of begging people or needing people to help me versus I'm looking for the person in that room or those people that can be most beneficial to a mutually acceptable relationship.
Yeah, we're going to go to a breakout room here shortly, guys, but I'll share one last thing, right? And this kind of hits upon everything that Joe talked about and everything that Dave was just talking about, right? So going through the Navy, right? When you make chief petty officer, when you get selected as a chief petty officer, you go through a 6 to 8 week, depending upon when the results come out. The goal is that by the 15th of September, all new chiefs are now they've got their anchors and they're pinned and they're moving on with their new uniforms and to go do some good things, right? But so somewhere between August 1st and September 15th, you go through a 6 to 8 week cycle that it used to be called initiation. Obviously, because of political terms, they've changed it to transition, and then they changed it to induction. And I got, quite honestly, being out of it for 10 years, I don't know what it's called anymore. It doesn't even matter, right? For sure, when we went through initiation, there were some things that we probably shouldn't have been doing, right? I'm pretty sure I ate some things that I wasn't supposed to eat back in the day, right? But part of it, like everything that we did, right, had a lesson to be taught with it, right? And obviously trust was part of that lesson, but at the end of the night, because it's an 8 week period, and then the last night is culmination night. You go through a 24-hour period where they don't let you sleep. They don't let you, like, you are not resting for a minute, right? It puts you through all the way through, and then about 4 o'clock in the morning, they start putting you through what they refer to as the final board process, and literally you're walking in front of a group of master chiefs, usually 6 to 8 or 10 master chiefs, right? And they are just drilling you with questions as far as the lessons that you've learned over those 6 to 8 weeks. And there's really three things that they are trying to get out of you, right? One of those being that you are not here being selected as a chief because of anything that you have done. It's because the people that you've led up until this point, right? It's what they have done and what you have inspired them to do as a leader that has risen you to where you're at. That being said, they want you to acknowledge the fact that it's not you, it's your people. Second thing they want to get out of you is that we could all be going up for chief together, right? Miska, Jeff, Dee, Joe, all of us could be a chief together. But we are not going to succeed as individuals, that we only succeed, right, as a group. Okay? Nobody made it through the night as individuals. We made it through because we stood side by side, because we were arm in arm, because we locked in the true faith that we had a mission to accomplish together, right? And this is what networking and relationship building does, right? It allows me and Teresa to find our commonality, to go, where can we help each other so that we both move forward in our lives, right? And we both move forward together in our lives and stuff. So transactional, it happens, okay? I think there are times that it's going to happen, and you're just going to look at somebody and go, I can't work with that person. I don't see eye to eye with them. I don't have things in common. But I will tell you, that's probably a very small part of your life, guys, right? That is a very, very small part of your life. If you truly are authentic to yourself, right, and you're genuine about who you are, you're going to find more people are more intrigued by the genuineness of Joanne and the genuineness of Allison, as opposed to those things that they don't like about you, or maybe their pet peeves or whatever else it might be, right? It doesn't even matter. So let's go to breakout, guys. Oh, I'm not sharing anymore. Let me go back to share real quick so you guys can see the breakout session. I don't like discussing negatives, right? We can sit here and discuss how bad transactional is all day long, probably, but let's discuss positive. Let's understand the influence. Let's understand what good this has done for many of us. So we're just going to go to a breakout session, right? This is the quick prompt. Just discuss a time when investing in a relationship paid off for you, right? What actions did you take to build the relationship? What was the outcome, right? And obviously, we'll come back together at the end of this and hopefully be able to share some ideas that will eventually lead us to some strategies, which is going to lead into breakout room number 2. Okay, so stop and share. I'm glad you were able to join us, man. I sent you in there last minute, but we got another breakout room we'll do here in a little bit. So what'd you guys figure out, man? What what were the benefits? What were the things that occurred? What results came out of it? What energized you about the relationships that were built? Don't everybody jump on here all at once.
Seth Meyers as well as Adam Sandler and the Happy Gilmore 2
Oh,
cast.
there's some
And even
background noise
there's
or something
fellow
that's
Daily Show alums.
I'm just not even sure who it's coming from.
okay.
It was
But,
thanks, Jeff. It's Jeff D.
There we go.
He was background noise.
So,
Okay.
so what did we learn? I mean, relationships. You know, I think the common themes were uh, the self satisfaction, obviously, that we get for serving others and helping others, and just watching others go succeed with either the knowledge or things that we shared with them. Right. What else?
I'll throw this out. I always tell the story of uh, when I had retired from Western Southern, and I did not want to go to my high school reunion, which was like a month later. And I ran into this guy who I went to grade school and high school with. And I mean, obviously, if it's a high school reunion, I went to high school with him, but I also went to grade school with him. And I told him, I said, I'm kind of looking for a part-time job, something maybe 3 days a week, maybe helping a school, maybe helping a nonprofit. And he's like, oh, you need to talk to my brother, Matt. And well, Matt happened to be the president of the board of directors of the school I ended up working for. And, when you want to go, if you're looking to work for a Catholic school, it helps that you're in the first communion picture with the brother of the guy who's the president of the board of directors. It's kind of funny how that works. He passed my resume on to the president of the school, and about 6 months later, they called and said, "Hey, are you still looking?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "I've got a part-time job now, but it's nothing. There's nothing permanent there or anything." And they said, talk to this guy. He was the president of the school, and basically, I had like a 4-question interview. It was like, you realize this is a part-time job. This is the role. Can you work 3 days a week, and can you start July 20th? And I answered yes to all of those. And so then the next question was, would you like a tour of the school? And basically they had seen my resume. They saw where I had worked previously, found out that a couple parents had worked with me. And a couple of those parents said, if you can get him, get him. So it's one of those things where, kind of this lifelong, knowing this guy all my life, helped me get a job that I really was not expecting and was never posted. And, I was, it's just knowing that guy all my life helped me get that particular job.
Reciprocity goes a long way.
Yeah.
I forever will ask myself what I did to deserve the reciprocity that Julie Meyer gives me, right? Coffee Connects on a list. Our breakfast is on a list. Everyone has Julie's list, right? And most people that come to breakfast on Thursday mornings that maybe I didn't invite personally, or Clint didn't invite personally, or Joanne didn't invite personally, right? I usually ask them, how'd you guys hear about us? Oh, there's this list. Oh, right. But that's the things that I think relationships can do. I mean, uh, if you're not asking for things, but you're truly just giving and giving and trying to collaborate with others, right? It's magical how things can come back. What else? I know there's other things out there. I'm looking, I've got people, Zeph, I mean, Teresa.
Of course. Can I share something real quick? Because I kind of feel passionate about it, because I think whenever we invest, when we actually connect with people, we talk about it a lot, but I don't think we know really how to really embody it. It's the art of showing up. And when I say the art of showing up, it's really just not, oh, I'll come in every Tuesday and for the meeting, or oh, whenever that's an event, I support you. No, when I connect with people is at a higher level, where the art of showing up is, if I know something's happening in their life, I check in. When I say check in, like, hey, if it has to be every day in a week, I'll do it. I'll reach out, hey, Rodney, what's going on? Is there anything that I can do, even just to hold space for you for 5 minutes, right? Because sometimes in this crazy life that we live, in order to be the human that we are and build the businesses or reach our goals, we are I mean, life throws us curveballs. And if we know it, reach out to that person, checking, like, I just want to check in. You don't have to answer. That's the art of showing up. And hey, I heard your son is having some challenges, not feeling well. I just want to check in to see if you needed anything. The people don't think about it, but those are the most crucial thing in a connection. I do that often, and I share with people the art of showing up is not only in a business world, but it spills over in the personal. Because when the time comes, when the sale needs to be made, who do you think they think of? That first person they call will be you. And you don't even have to make a hard sale, because they know you as a human and not you just as a business person. So I want to share that.
So on that same note, guys, right, and showing up and the relationship side, I want to the first person that we need to have a relationship with outside of our gods, right, is ourselves. How transactional are you being with yourself? Right? I mean, how
Thank you
transactional
for bringing that up.
are you being with yourself? Oh, I checked it off. Oh, that that doesn't work. Right? You've got to find ways to have a relationship with yourself and truly, enjoy the person you are becoming if you want other people to enjoy it too. And I think sometimes by far we're our own worst critics, right? I mean, we are hardest on ourselves. But I'm in the middle of this second read of Outwitting the Devil. Right. And within the book itself, especially at the beginning, it talks about knowing your other self or finding your other self. Right. And I think we all have that in us. Right. And we've got to understand there's yin and yang in all of us. Right. And we've got the person who loves fear and then the person who loves inspiration inside of us. Right. And we all have to find that the better part of us. Right. And start having a true relationship with ourselves so that when I'm meeting Allison, that I'm as genuine as I can be, right, about who I am and what I'm trying to do. I think I met several of you at, on one-on-ones, and I'm sure I've had several responses over the years. They're like, dude, why are you so positive? Because it ain't worth it being negative, right? It's just not worth being negative and being down on yourself or being hard about because life is already crappy enough sometimes, right? Uh, so there's no sense in being negative about it. Find the good in it, right? And I think if we can start finding the good in ourselves and helping to find the good in other people, you'll be amazed at what it can do for you. If I told you all today, right? If I told you all today, if you go out and you create one new relationship a week for the rest of your life, right? That you will probably live 10 to 15 years longer than most people. How many of you guys would be up for it? Right? Great. So I see some hands raising up, right? So we're going to watch a quick video real quick, and then we're going to jump into the second breakout session. I got to make sure I got this pulled up here. Hold on. I'm not sharing sound. Dadgummit.
Hotel California, they can check in, but they can't check out.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave.
Of course, there's an ad here, so.
Here.
And I don't want to play the whole thing because we'll be here for another 12, 15 minutes or whatever, but I do. So the general is that uh, they've done a study, right, of thousands of men over the years trying to figure out what makes you happy. Within the audience themselves, they did a survey and talk. Most of the audience is probably millennial generation guys. They said, "Hey, having success in your career and being wealthy, that's what's going to bring me happy, right? That's what's going to bring happiness to me, right?" And so, I want to have him talk a little bit about what they found out over the years of not only an initial survey, but every couple of years going back to the same subjects and asking them to fill out a new survey and asking them new questions about happiness and things in their life.
That
Can you
come
guys hear that?
from the tens of thousands of pages of information that we've generated on these lives. Well, the lessons aren't about wealth or fame or working harder and harder. The clearest message that we get from this 75-year study is this: good relationships keep us happier and healthier, period. We've learned 3 big lessons about relationships. The first is that social connections are really good for us and that loneliness kills. It turns out that people who are more socially connected to family, to friends, to community are happier, they're physically healthier, and they live longer than people who are less well connected. And the experience of loneliness turns out to be toxic. People who are more isolated than they want to be from others find that they are less happy, their health declines earlier in midlife, their brain functioning declines sooner, and they live shorter lives than people who are not lonely. And the sad fact is that at any given time, more than 1 in 5 Americans will report that they're lonely. And we know that you can be lonely in a crowd and you can be lonely in a marriage. So the second big lesson that we learned is that it's not just the number of friends you have, and it's not whether or not you're in a committed relationship, but it's the quality of your close relationships that matters.
Showing up.
It turns out that living in the midst of conflict is really bad for our health. High conflict marriages, for example, without much affection, turn out to be very bad for our health, perhaps worse than getting divorced. And living in the midst of good, warm relationships is protective. Once we had followed our men all the way into their 80s, we wanted to look back at them at midlife and to see if we could predict who was going to grow into a happy, healthy octogenarian and who wasn't. And when we gathered together everything we knew about them at age 50, it wasn't their middle-aged cholesterol levels that predicted how they were going to grow old. It was how satisfied they were in their relationships. The people who were the most satisfied in their relationships at age 50 were the healthiest at age 80. And
So because of time, I'm going to cut it short, but I mean, he goes on to talk about how relationships, right, can help us be healthier and happier and obviously live longer lives. And so I want to keep this in mind because, some of us, all of us at some point will be reaching older ages. And so if our focus, and I look at my mom right now, she's 90, right? And she was always that person who was going out and getting involved with things and creating relationships and building new friendships. And that was her in her younger years, right? And now that she's 90, right, she doesn't have that opportunity. She don't have the mobility, I should say, to go out and do those things. And so, most of the people that she's hanging around with today are what? 90. Right? I mean, and so I would tell you, like, if you really want to create longevity for yourself, continue to create relationships, not only with those that are your age, right, but with generations younger than you, right? Part of our journey on this earth, right, on this rock, right, is to help pass down knowledge and information to the future generations. And so we all know that lessons will continue to be taught, right, until they're learned, right? And unfortunately, we continue to learn things uh, and not pass them down sometimes as diligently as what we should. And so I want to go into this last breakout room because we're go ahead, Dave. If you got something, go ahead
Just
before
real quick, he talked about deep meaning relationships. Can I just do a quick thing? Show of hands of the group that's here, how many have reached out to somebody they've connected with in a breakout session through Coffee Connect? Okay, keep your hand, well, keep them up if you will for a second. How many of you have followed up with any of those people a second time? How many a third time? That's getting into the deep-seated relationships. And if you've got good things through Coffee Connect, why aren't you just staying in touch with those folks?
yeah. So go ahead, Joe. You got something? Or you just raising your hand
No,
because Dave was telling you to raise your hand?
don't. I accidentally clicked something. I guess I didn't mean to.
You're all good, buddy. You're all good.
Okay,
So
I'm taking my hand back.
second breakout session, guys. Second breakout session goes more into strategies, right? We're going to go to some rooms, talk about, what can you do to help do what Dave just said, right? What can you do to help foster that second and third and fourth generation, even type of connection? Because the further you get along in it, the deeper it gets, the more impactful you can be for each other. Okay. And so stop sharing there. I'm breakout rooms up because I did not do that earlier. And so I'm going to open them up. It's 10:46. We'll go for about 10 minutes. Michael, are you in two different chats now?
They should only be in one, I think. Oh, I guess it is two of me.
There's two of you.
I accidentally
Oh my
click
God,
out. I guess it.
oh my God, he's cloned himself.
We'll see which one he's going to. Which one is he going to join? Tell your secrets. What's your strategies? You got to have some good ones. There's some great networkers in this group here.
Alcohol and hope.
Whoa.
That was not our strategy.
I'm going to share one. So this is something I started to practice more with connections who really, really matter. Those close connections you talk about, Rodney. I think probably 2 years into implementation and practice right now is if everybody's familiar with Simon Sinek's 8 minutes. So I tell everybody and I tell everyone who I energetically feel that I connect and are worth investing in the connection. And I'm like, hey, if you need any 8 minutes to just kind of hold space and have a conversation, reach out and let me know and we'll schedule something in. I don't know if anybody knows about it, but 8 minutes, that 8 minutes conversation, a whole space was started. Simon was telling about, you know, his relationship with a good friend, and he's always asking this good friend, like, how you doing? And he goes, it's fine. But he didn't really know the, like, when someone says he or she's fine, maybe it's not exactly that, right? And the fact that this person was going through a hard time and he didn't know that because this was a great close connection of his. So from there, the office, they started this 8 minute is somebody needs to vent, talk, or just have a conversation to kind of share their day or just hold space. And someone would say, hey, do you have 8 minutes? That's like the clue or the code for I need a little bit of time, and I need someone to hold space. I just need a conversation. So I've been practicing a lot of that, and you'll be amazed at how many people take on my 8 minutes practice. And I'm quite surprised that people actually are open to that. And usually doesn't end up just 8 minutes. It could be like 15 minutes, but just allowing that and sharing that with my connections, that has been a great strategy for me, because in this busy, crazy world that we live in, we don't really know who has the capacity to hold space for us on a hard day, on a challenging day. And just to let somebody know that, listen, hey, Rodney, hey, Diane, if you need 8 minutes to just vent and just be human, I'm your person. And that has been a game changer for me, because I realize that we as humans, 8 minutes may seem short, but at 8 minutes to hold space for somebody can change the trajectory of their day. So I've been practicing that for almost 2 years now.
I love it. I love it. What else, guys? What else? What other strategies? What else are you using?
Find commonalities which will connect you kind of naturally to people you know, like, and trust. And that three-headed pillar, that's, I believe, the foundation for long-lasting, healthy relationships.
Perfect, right? And it's so true, man. I mean, I was just thinking, when we started going to this last phase, I said, probably one of the hardest things, right, and one of the biggest challenges that's ever possessed the world, right, is getting someone to follow you to church. And I don't care what religion you are, right? I mean, it doesn't even matter. Getting someone to say, yeah, I want to go look at this. I want to check this out. Right. And no one has ever succeeded in that by going, you got to come, Michael. He's going to save your life. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. Right. No one has ever succeeded doing that. Right. They said, Michael, man, I like you. I like your personality. I think we get along good, man. Hey, why don't you come with me on this Sunday afternoon? Right. Because you like Rodney, because you enjoy our time together or our conversations, right? You might give it a shot and go, I want to go check this thing out, right? And guys, if God has that hard time, right, getting people to convince themselves to come see him, what makes you think you're any different, right? You got to get people liking, trusting you, knowing you, right? And truly engage with what you're trying to do for them, right? Not what you're expecting for them to do for you, right? And so I'm going to end it on this, guys. I challenge you all, right? I want you all to live long, healthy, prosperous lives, right? Go out there and create a new relationship this week, right? Reach out to someone that maybe you were in a breakout room with today, and get to know them better, get to know them more, get to understand what makes them tick, and what really they are truly genuinely about, right? And in the turn, just know peacefully that that one relationship that you were reaching out to, right, may have just added a few more days to your life.
Rodney, can I just
Yeah.
say, for us introverts, reach out to somebody you're already, as Jeff said, know, like, and trust, that you haven't for a while. That's a very simple one. You don't have any stress because you already have that mutual arrangement. That'll be a good starting spot, and you'll find that those probably will mature into other things.
And at the same time, right? Yeah, you can always ask them who do they know, right, and get introduced to, because now it's a warm introduction versus you just randomly meeting someone out and about, right? And so, by all means, guys, create relationships, encourage others to do the same, guys, because too many people are transactional in today's life, right? And we don't need that. We need good sounding relationships that, if we don't agree upon something, we can at least discuss it and talk about it and find out what each other's perspective is, because I'm not naive enough to think that my way is the only way, right? And I don't think most of us are, right? I'm not saying everyone's not, because there are people that are that way, right? But I would think most of us, especially if you're coming to a networking event, right, are open to ideas, open to learning, and open to seeing, right, what can be created from that relationship. And I hope you go out there and create a bunch of them this week, right? I think we got great opportunities going into the fall. Go out there, have a great week, everybody, and always remember, I love you guys. All right.
Great.
Love you guys. Thanks, everyone. See you
Thank
next time.
you.
See you, Jeff.